Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Mirror Dungeon solo video. Today we'll be using a fan favorite and the best drinking buddy in the world, Molar Office Outis. Being one of the first discard identities, her kit is definitely quite simple. The main purpose of discard when it doesn't have any bonus effects like Insight is to allow for better skill cycling and let you use the powerful skill 2s and 3s more frequently. Molar Outis follows this principle to the letter, wanting nothing more than to spam as many skill 3s as possible. The fact that her skill 1 is pretty much useless certainly helps incentivize this. Her skill 3 is also one of the best tremor bursting skills in the game, coming in with 3 tremor bursts that have the potential to not eat any tremor count if she has enough tremor count on herself. Gaining tremor count on herself is also not the most difficult thing in the world, as she needs only to discard or use her skill 1, which is something she's almost always doing. With this incredibly reliable source of tremor burst, it's easy to say that she is the third best tremor identity in the game, coming in right behind Regret Faust and Eurodivvy Hong Lu. We start the run off with both Reverberation and Sour Liquor Aroma for our starting gifts, and choose the Forgotten for the first floor. Outside of the literal first encounter of this floor, it's all relatively simple. The reason being, Molar Outis has the best Sin type for soloing on her skill 2, Lust. This allows us to fuel the best healing passive in the game, Chef Ryoshu, instantly. On top of that, being a discard identity gives us access to both Diechi Yi-Song and Mersault's passives, which give us a bit of shield the first time we discard a skill. These passives are more than enough to carry us through the entire Mirror Dungeon with pretty much nothing else, and trivializes the first floor entirely. We get lucky with our reward and pick Bell of Truth before heading into Hell's Chicken for the next floor. Here we buy Coffee and Cranes, Temporal Brittle, and an extra skill 3 while also finding Lithograph before making it to the boss against Papa Bongi. This fight is not that bad. The only thing that could realistically prove to be a threat are the head chickens, as we are weak to lust damage, but other than that, the previously mentioned passives are more than enough to ensure most damage is nullified. Having a pretty powerful 4-coin skill also lets us make relatively short work of the Papa, despite us not having the best damage matchup into him.
한바탕 해볼까? 양대로 하자고.
저녁만 잡는 한 맞춰버린 손님들처럼
한바탕 해볼까?
개체에게 일격을 가하는데 성공했습니다.
한바탕 해볼까?
가 성공적으로 끝나면 모두의 희생을 기리며 축구를 드는 것도 나쁘지 않겠죠.
힘들고. 그러니 알아서 잘 피해야지. 힘들고. 그러니 알아서 잘 피해야지.
We take Green Spirit for our reward and head into the Nuna Violet for the next floor. Here we fuse Melted Eyeball before making it to the boss. The biggest issue when it comes to this fight is that Outis is naturally weak to envy damage. Of course, being on the 3rd floor and having plenty of ego resources, this is easily remedied by simply using any other ego. For whatever reason though, I was determined to get through this floor without using any egos. Why? I don't remember, but I can only assume that it's because I lucked into doing it during the first fight and wanted to replicate it during the boss.
한바탕 해볼까?
The only reason that it's possible is thanks to Yisong and Mersault's passive, giving us a tiny bit of extra health, and the fact that Molar Outis' skill 3 is literally designed to kill the Fruit of Understanding. With them being weak to both sloth and blunt damage, it's only a matter of time until we break through all 3 waves and face up against the monolith. The big statue is also a non-issue, as he has the same weaknesses and falls incredibly quickly.
직원의 상태가 나빠 보이는군요. 흔히 이걸 나사 빠진 상태라고 표현하던가요? 방금 건 실없는 농담이 아닌 긴장 완화를 위한 교류였습니다. 마지막 기회에
한바탕 해볼까? 힘들고
직원들이 개체를 지어
한바탕 해볼까?
깔끔한 전장일걸? 칼날이 잘 드네요. 아마 그 공격이 약점이었겠지? 방금 공격은 좋았어. 그대로만 계속해보면 좋을 텐데. 사실 이런 고무고시를
한바탕 해볼까? 힘들고 그러니 알아서 잘 피해야지.
We take Nixie Divergence for our reward and head into a certain world for the next floor. Here we buy Mirror Tactile Synthesia and find Bloody Gadget while also fusing Downpour and Clockwork Spring before making it to the boss against Nelly. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this fight was an absolute nightmare and choosing this floor was definitely a mistake. You see, the reason I chose this floor was because I couldn't remember what damage type Nelly did and was under the assumption she did mostly slash damage. Unfortunately, I was wrong, and she does primarily pierce damage, which we are fatal to. If not for the absolutely goated support passes of the Diechi, this fight would be an instant reset. There's pretty much exclusively one way to get out of the first turn alive. If you discard a skill 3, they will give you a free 40 shield, barely enough to avoid being staggered. Technically, a skill 2 also works, but only if you get incredibly lucky with Nelly's rolls. With that said though, the real reason this fight is so incredibly difficult is Nelly's evade. If it wasn't for that, this fight would be very simple, as it would be no problem to stagger her on the second turn thanks to an incredibly reliable triple tremor burst. The evade throws a wrench into this plan, as it is impossible for us to beat it with the first 2 coins of Outis' skill 3, and if she gets lucky and rolls only heads, none of our hits land. The only way to beat this fight is through sheer luck alone. Nelly needs to miss her evade as soon as possible, and you need to get lucky with both your skill draws and her rolls to even be able to survive the first turn. As soon as we manage to stagger her though, we do easily win.
힘들고
손익이 딱한
그러니
번
알아서
먹었어.
잘 피해야지.
We take the Chief Butler's secret arts for our reward and head into Time-Killing Time for the final floor. Here we buy the Faded Watch Case, Silver Watch Case, and Etched Hands, while also fusing the handheld mirror before making it to the boss against the Time Ripper. He can prove to be fairly scary, having both pierce damage and bleed, but with his semi-slow startup, he's significantly easier to handle than Nelly. The only truly troubling turn is the one directly after he enters his second phase. One of his skills essentially requires us to use an ego to beat, but other than that, he's fairly simple so long as you have a little luck. Yet again though, the Diechi passives prove just how invaluable they are, as we can more or less ignore all of his bleed, as the shield will eat all of it for us.
해볼까? 지겹다. 이 몸을 직접 펴봐야겠네.
좋아, 알맞게 원투 덩어리 풀었는데? 그러니까 반을 내볼 차례겠지? 좋아, 적들이 싫어하는 음식이 뭐였는지 정확히 간파해. 저희 직원들이 개체의 부위를 파괴했어요. 혹시 미리 훈련하길 잘했죠?
한바탕 해볼까?
부위 파괴. 그리고 들어온 것만큼 중요한 한 방울. 적들이 저녁만 성공적으로 맞춰버린 손님들처럼 즐겨먹는데 한 접시 근사하게 먹여볼까? 적의 부위가 파괴된 상태야. 개운하게
한바탕 해볼까?
정리정돈 해보자.
힘들고 그러니 알아서 잘 피해. 다음 술자리 모험담은 이거군. 아주 완벽했어.
And that's how I soloed Mirror Dungeon 4 hard using only Molar Office Outis, a very powerful Tremor identity who is an absolute staple for Tremor teams, at least until the next Tremor identity comes out who has 7 Tremor bursts on their skill 3. This card is easily one of the most powerful effects in regards to soloing though, and it's entirely thanks to Diechi Yi Song and Mersault. Anyway, that's it from me. Like and subscribe to not miss next time where we'll be using this character. Goodbye!